institutions that met, and they meet every year. The reason they meet is because many seniors in high school throughout the country want to go to this particular college. And so to qualify, you have to write a letter. And you have to send that letter in along with your application of why you want to go. And so there's hundreds and hundreds of letters they have to go through. I'm going to read you one that was written. And this individual student, senior in high school, wrote this. He says, "I am not a great student, nor am I a leader. You could say that I'm incredibly average. I work very hard for the grades I get. And for the past 3 summers, I've worked at a camp for children with cancer. At first, I was terrified that I would say something stupid, or I would do something that would add to their pain. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed working with these kids. I've been even more surprised at everything I've learned from them about life and death, about coping with illness and disappointment, about what it really means and what's important and good. I would like to work with the chronically ill and physically challenged children. I would like to pursue a degree in education and psychology so that I might try to give these boys and girls something of what they have given me." He was accepted. But there's a lesson, I think, there for all of us. We talked about today the gift that's been given to us, the gift of faith. Grace has been given to us. The apostles asked for an increase of grace. Well, we don't have to ask for that because God generously gives it every one of us that wonderful gift. But it's what you and I do with that gift. How do you and I deal with that day in and day out in our daily lives, whether it's in schools, hospitals, nursing homes, wherever it may be, at work, and so forth? How are we dealing with the situations that come up in our life? And every one of us, without exception, I'm sure, we all have situations, some are very serious, that we have to deal with day after day. But God gives us a free gift, no charge. He gives us that gift of grace that helps us to move from one step to the next step, to move from one level to another level. It's there. It's free. But how do we use it? Are we using it to improve our own spiritual lives and make ourselves better? There are many people who don't use this great, wonderful gift of grace. They toss it aside. Well, now maybe it's the time to accept that and rewrite our lives. Because we all have positive things in our life. Too often, many people always are putting themselves down. Stop. You don't need to put yourself down because you are special in the sight of God. Take that negativity, take it and grab it and throw it in the trash can. And look at your real self. What has God blessed you with? He's given you life. He's given you the ability to do all sorts of wonderful things day after day. But what do we do with that grace? Are we reaching out to our sisters and brothers who are in need? Just like this young writer. He dealt with children who had cancer, who were dying. He came to understand something in his life that he had never seen before. We look back at Francis of Assisi, whose feast is this Tuesday. We look at his life. He came from a wealthy family. He had everything anybody would want materially. But something was lacking. What did he do? His life was changed because the Lord spoke to him. He said, "Francis, rebuild my church." His life changed. He left all that, left his parents, left all that wealth to go forth and minister to people, which we have been doing as Franciscans for many, many hundreds of years. That continues. But the same things are offered to you as has been offered to me as well as all the Franciscan friars. We have an ability to reach out to those who are less fortunate, to lift up those who are down in the dumps, to help people rewrite their lives. But it all comes back to us, to you, to take advantage of that grace, to take advantage of what God has blessed us with and use it in a positive way. We have too much negativity in this country, too much material things taking over our lives. And when you stop and think of all that God has given us, what have you and I given back to Him? What truly have we given to Him? Have we reached out to the less fortunate? Have we gotten rid of our prejudice, our hang-ups, whether it's politics or wherever else? Have we realized that we are human beings? We have our faults and we have our failings, but we're still wonderful people. We can be very positive people, not negative all the time. I close the door when I hear people negative. No. We want to be positive. We want to lift one another up. We want to encourage one another. And that's a challenge. But we have that grace, that wonderful grace that God gives us. And when you look at your own lives and see that God has given us life, the very breath that you and I are taking right now is a wonderful gift. And you have to ask, and as I have to ask, time and time again, when I pick up Scripture and I start reading it many times, and this may have happened to you, you're reading along and something jumps off the page at you and practically slaps you in the face and says, "Hey, wake up, I'm talking to you." Hey, I got to pay attention. Because the Lord is speaking to me. And sometimes the Lord speaks through other people to us. So we have to listen. Don't build up prejudice. Don't build up walls. Too many people have walls around them. We don't need walls. Because when you knock the walls down, what happens? We let Christ into our lives. We become faith-filled. We experience that love that Christ has for every single one of us. Give it a try. And like that young man said in his letter, I want to give back to those children what they have given to me. But what do we want to give back to God for all that He's given to each of us?